Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and today starts our March Madness. Now, our take on this infamous month is that we are going to attempt to release 2 basketball game reviews each week. Today, we're starting off with Double Dribble for the NES.
I think what Brian meant to say was Double Dribble. In Japan, this is known as Eki Saiti Ingu Basuketo. Apparently that means exciting basket. I don't know. I'm not from Japantown. Anyway, this was originally released as arcades in 1986 and was later ported to, wow, Jesus Christ, the NES, the Famicom Disk System, the Commodore 64, the Game Boy. This was developed and published by Konami, so that's always a good sign. Well, not so much today, but back then, that was a great sign. The version we're going to be looking at today is going to be the NES version, which came out in 1987.
As always, starting off with the graphics, we gotta say, this ain't bad looking for a first attempt on an NES cartridge. Now, it's Konami, so you know you have to expect some pretty decent cutscenes, which you get in the beginning. However, I will say, the very first one you get, dear lord, that's like seizure-inducing. That is so goddamn annoying. But other than that, we have no real complaints. The highlighted players are always a nice touch, and as you can see from our scores, I gave it a 5, Jim gave it a 6, and that's going to be a running theme in this review. Jim liked it slightly more than me. As far as the beer requirement meter is concerned, I'm going to add 2 for that goddamn Double Dribble.
Konami games in 1987. What do you think? But it should have good sound. Alright, the sound's a little weird here. There's not a lot of music, and during the course of the game, you get the little tunes in between baskets, just like a real game, but you don't have anything playing overall. But you do get a shitload of sound effects and even a pretty good representation of the squeak of the sneakers, so that's a nice touch. Besides that, you get the very limited voiceover work for jump ball or double dribble. But besides that, what you get's good. You don't get it really that much. So we both gave it 6s. You know, it's definitely above average. And I'll add another beer for jump ball.
The control is an area, probably the biggest area where me and Jim disagreed. I didn't find it all that intuitive or great. I kind of felt like the passing was way too fast, and if you're someone that's a cherry picker like Jim, it's a little bit unfair.
Bullshit! Wait till the later games. You call me a goddamn cherry picker. Globetrotters! Globetrotters!
Anyway, the control is just so basic, and the shooting mechanic of holding in and charging up your shot and then releasing, it's not something you would have right away thought you had to do, and once you get used to it, yeah, it's not too bad. I just feel like it could have been a little smoother. The guys run a little stiff, and stealing the ball, it kind of feels like more of a coin toss than something that's actually player operated. So, as you can see, I gave it a 5, Jim gave it a 7. I'm adding 2 beers, just to piss Jim off.
The gameplay. It's pretty bare bones. It's basketball, and it does a really good job of replicating actual basketball. That being said, you don't get a lot of options here. It gives you 4 teams, they play different, that's fine. The game's kind of notorious for its quote-unquote hotspots, where there are certain parts around the court that give you way better percentages for scoring than other parts do. So, if you learn those, that can kind of break the game. The clock, it moves faster than it does in real life, which is a touch that I personally like because I don't want to sit here, especially if it's a bad game, and have to play it for, well, Christ, 60 full minutes? The game overall, it's fun. Alright, so Brian gave it a 5, I gave it a 6. It's slightly above average for what you get. I'll add another 2 beers for no season mode.
Alright, the Originality. Well, if you're a fan of our site and our channel, then you know we're going to give the first of any type of genre high scores. And deservedly so. This is the first basketball game to come to the NES. Although it's very reminiscent of some Atari basketball games, we still give it points for being the first on the system. And not only is it the first basketball game, I also gotta give it credit. It has a very interesting game select feature that you have to shoot a basket to get to it. Just something goofy, nothing groundbreaking. So as you can see, me and Jim, we both gave it 9s. I'm gonna only add 1 more beer, because, it's an original game.
Alright, the replayability. Well, you get 4 teams, you get 1 basic game mode. There's actually not that much here. But, like we said, the multiplayer is fun enough that you can go back to this. And sticking with our rule of at the very least a 5, we decided to give both of us gave it 6s. I'll add another 2 beers for only having 4 teams.
So overall, I'll give this game kudos. Like Jim just said, it is fun enough for you to come back and play with your buddies, and I will admit I might have scored it a little bit lower than I should have because I lost to Jim, which almost never happens. But I'm fair. I did like it, but still, it's nothing too crazy. So as you can see, I gave it a 5, Jim gave it a 6. It's definitely not a bad title. If you're a real big fan of basketball, you might even like it more than us. But either way, it's not bad. So as you can see, our total combined score for Double Dribble is going to be 6.2. It's above average. It's not amazing, but it's definitely worthwhile. And as far as the beer pairing is concerned, I'm going to have to go with Brooklyn Lager. This is a beer me and Jim really both enjoy, and we can drink that all night. It's not the best beer in the world, but it definitely would pair well with some Double Dribble fun. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up or subscribe. Either way, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.